following show may shock, disturb, and offend some viewers. The opinions, theories, and facts shared on this podcast are not widely accepted by the brainwashed masses, especially those who find dark humor offensive. Viewer discretion is advised.
Jeffrey Dahmer soaked in blood. The Unabomber blowing up. Waco, Texas, and Heaven's Gates. Aliens modified, meant for mapes. JFK shot in the head by the CIA. Bigfoot and the Mothman. Son of Sam talking to dogs again. Witches, ghosts, and goblins. Mysterious noise and hauntings. Dark arts in the skull and bones. Most celebrities are probably cloned. So if you're feeling all alone, crack a beer and get stoned. I welcome you to the podcast Strange Brew. We're here to entertain you. We're here to entertain you.
It's about to get strange.
We are back, everybody. We are back. Okay, what's up, everybody out there? I am Tomcat, aka Tom Thompson, the Raptilian. So for all the audio listeners, you won't really notice this, but this is the first time that we're back sitting, recording in probably almost 3 weeks since my baby has graced herself into this world. So pretty exciting. I'm excited. We're doing something a little different. And who am I joined by?
Your favorite little horror boy, soon to be actually something I got called 2 or 3 times on the weekend where someone was like, "Oh, you look like Danny Boyle's love child." And I'm like, great. That's not a compliment at all. I'm like, I don't want to be told that. Yeah, I'm excited to be back. I feel like I'm reinvigorated after the past weekend, to be honest, because I think the little glimpse of like having one good day like that where you get recognized as like, you know, you're just one person that started a show that met somebody else online that also done the same thing, and then you're like, wait a sec, you could actually, like, if you really slog it out, you can make something of this stuff. And I feel like it's like reinvigorated me to go, actually, wait, there is a way to, like, yeah, there is a way to maneuver this and get into kind of like the mainstream or whatever you want to call it.
And it'll be hard for this show considering some of the stuff we talk about, but like it is. I can't help that I want to talk about controversial stuff. It like gets my goat, as they say. It makes me hard. So we had an episode taken down off Spotify. We've had our episode get restricted about the Great Replacement on Spotify, even though it got the same amount of downloads. And then the one me and Shane did, where we were just talking about the simulation theory, but it got into this whole, I called it destruction through diversity, of this idea of like, yeah, flooding our countries with so many people. It's probably not a great idea, right? So I did that episode with Mary Kate, where she's very she's intellectual when it comes to this, and how she forms her opinions and facts based on the idea of multiculturalism, and how it's not really inherently good at a fast rate for America, Canada, or any country in the Western world, and how it's only happening here. Everyone knows my opinion on that. I think if people want to come here, work hard, and assimilate at a slow rate, then, you know, maybe we can make it work. But we have seen the detrimental effects that it does. So it was taken off Spotify for dangerous content. It was a pretty like, we didn't say anything crazy. We were both like objectively saying, okay, there's some harmful things about what's being done, you know? And then it was taken down. And then when I inquired about it, okay, when I inquired about like, okay, like I want to see if I can get this episode back up. I want to dispute this. They said it was something to do with that. This, I think they get some people, whatever. Oh, because there was, you can't use Spotify podcasts for promoting music or something like that. And I've played music of my own, because at the end of the episode, I played one of my own songs, but I still they still labeled it dangerous content. So they're kind of trying to go around these I don't know, these censorship. It pissed me off though. I'm like, I like that episode.
Yeah, it's weird, and like I've seen a little bit of that over the last little while, where
Spotify.
I didn't realize how much kind of legality goes behind a lot of this stuff in a way. And I know this doesn't make it okay or anything, but there's a lot of red tape now with things like, and I even seen something like I'm a huge fan of Halloween Horror Nights in Universal, and I seen they had a panel the other day, and they had all the like people who have nothing to do with like the business side, like all the creatives, the guys who design the haunted houses, and the guys who design the story, and the blah 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 blah. And all the fans kept asking questions about like, why can't we see content and characters and stuff from years past that you guys have done? And they basically, they to be fair, I didn't think they would, but they gave an honest answer. They were like, you have no idea the amount of legal issues that we have now, because everything gets like cited for, oh no, that's too much like this, or oh, that was in 2002, that's too violent now, you can't do that anymore, so we can't re-release that image, or we can't put that picture
That's
up, or we can't make a t-shirt with like for example, let's just say, I don't know, this was an original character, like in 2025 they can't put him on a t-shirt because he's like too controversial or too scary or too whatever.
It's so absurd, man.
Amazing.
And it's like, I like just that's the most attacked thing, like at least from what I see, of like this idea of like the anti-white agenda, which if anyone disputes it, because I know we have fans that are black, white, probably all walks of life, and I know this because I've seen the stats or whatever. But like there's a guy I'm trying to get on the show, and he's really objective when he's talking about this stuff. He's a black guy that calls out the black community for some of the stuff that they're doing that is detrimental harm on themselves. And he actually calls out the anti-white agenda. There's a lot more people that are doing this, but it's just like, that seems to me the most controversial thing, the most dangerous content. That's the only stuff that we've ever been flagged for, is talking about mass immigration and the anti-white agenda, essentially. So obviously they don't want you talking about it because it's actually happening, and they don't want people to notice that. So I just want to bring that up. So that's why people out there, like, please support the show. Like, rate it, give us 5-star rating reviews, even if you say watch on Rumble or YouTube, or support Rumble for sure, because we're going on there. But go to, if you have an Apple phone, and go give us 5 stars. If you have Spotify, go give us 5 stars and a good review. Go comment on an episode with with a positive message. And I just want to read this for all the people that I do notice these things. I do see these things, and I'm very thankful. Strange Brew podcast is strange, not for the faint of heart, but let me tell you, these guys are the real deal. Their show sheds light on such variety of topics, and breaks down walls, and shows you things you might never even have imagined. These guys are funny and pure-hearted, and actually care about what they're doing and their fans. It's an incredible show that has helped me through dark times without them even knowing. I know. I can see it. Their dark humor is a warm welcome in my earbuds, and day or night. Keep up the amazing show. We need you. So I see stuff like that where I'm like, I appreciate the people that do go out of the way and leave a review so I can see it and tell you guys on the show that I hear you guys. And we've been doing this for over 7 years now, and I thank you. And the more support and the more you share it and the more you tell people about it, it goes a long way, because we do cover controversial topics that do get stuff taken down, or it's definitely shadow banned on YouTube and stuff.
Just not to cut you off, can you hear anything weird in my mic when I talk?
Just your voice.
But you can't hear any like noises because I have a fan going, because like I'm about to die.
Oh, I can kind of hear the fan. It's hot as hell too.
Yeah, no, I'll click it off. But I did want to give a shout out to somebody who sent me a message the other day when I was riding high. I think it was before anybody knew that I was meeting Danny Boyle, I think, at this point. So like
people don't know, it's the guy that made all the 28 days later, 28 weeks later, 28 years later.
Train Spotting, Slumdog Millionaire, 127 hours, The Beach.
Aaron got like an extensive interview, like it's pretty cool.
Which I'm trying to get like the rest of the footage from. Even do you know what, right? I would even sign, I'll be honest, I'd sign an NDA to say that I won't release the footage if I could just have it for myself.
Yeah. So you can
I could look at it and go, how weird was that? Like, it was so weird just to across him, because I'm like, here's a dude who's worth like 100 million.
Yeah.
But he just seems like just a guy. He's just like, yeah, whatever. Don't listen to all that shit. Just have a chat, whatever. I don't care. But when I was like in the middle of all that, I got a message which kind of helped me even more, like reinforce that idea of like, yes, this is what I want to do. I'll be honest, I don't want to do anything else with my life. I'll be totally honest. Do you know somebody called Caleb Martin?
Yeah, he's a huge fan of the show. He's a good
dude. Yeah, he shot me a message and he was like, huge fan of yours, man. I know you from Strange Brew, and I went over and started following your show also. I was the one that made the comment about the Titanic asking you to say she's made of iron, sir.
Iron Star.
Chat with Tom all the time and just wanted to tell you how great it's been seeing you on the show. Your dynamic is absolutely fantastic, and the show wouldn't be the same without both of you guys being together now. Gonna order one of your shirts next. Gonna pick up the one horror movie characters. Love a good horror movie. I know you guys don't make much money from shirts and stuff like that, and it's more about wearing it and getting the word out there. So I just wanted to pick up a shirt as a walk-in advertisement for your shows.
We have some pretty solid fans out there, man. And they're growing all the time. You know, I've always opened the door to that maybe too much, my wife thinks, but I'm like, you know, I'll be cordial and I'll talk with the fans. And I have some fans that shout and tell me the most random shit and just tell me what they're doing. And I'm like, cool. Like, I will participate because you're helping me and spread the word, and you're watching our content. So that's why I want to do something different. I've literally been writing out so many episodes, getting so much stuff ready for the show for this upcoming year. Like, I'm just like, I got a vault full of stuff. That's hilarious. It's like 45 degrees. I cut the lawn earlier, and I'm like, it's like deathly hot, dude. I was like,
global warming is real.
Yeah. Well, I got Ricky's Lemonade, Trailer Park Boys. I'm like, vodka. I haven't drank. It's 6%. I haven't drank in a long time. That's a sweet mug. Class Horrorcast for all those that don't know. Yeah, so all the support would be much appreciated because we do get targeted a fair amount. Just for me, like, wanting, like, oh, I find this interesting because, like, I've always pushed boundaries on things, and I was gonna say this, and I was thinking about, like, that episode being taken down. I'm like, I could have stayed in this lane of, like, let's just talk about, like, the base level conspiracies and cryptids and paranormal, and it was fun. Me and Billy always covered that stuff, and maybe push the boundaries of doing an episode about, like, necrophilia, that we just sent to the Cult of Conspiracy Boys for them to engage their audience in that episode. That is pretty wild, and it'd be funny to do a video episode of that one day. But, you know, I could have just walked on that line and just kind of not strayed either way, but, like, it's not who I am. I want to be able to push boundaries and you know, talk about things objectively and say, hey, I'm just going to show you information, and then it's up to you to decide. And the fact that information being labeled dangerous is the most absurd thing to me. Information isn't dangerous. It's what people do with that information. And if there's crazy people out there, look what's happening in the world. The whole world's collapsing. They're going into World War III, civil war of Mexicans waving Mexican flags in America, saying they're just as American as you, but then they're waving Mexican flags. It's just so absurd, man. This world is such a clown world.
Also, on another note, and I don't know why, and I feel like you don't get shit for this at all, actually, but maybe more so on this show than on my show, but people always say about the fact that I wear a hat. And I finally outed the bald head. Yeah. I had no choice. I was like, I can't wear some dumbass fucking hat. Like, but yeah, you're not going to see my head on this show until somebody gives me enough money to buy new headphones, because all the stuff on the top of this is like melted off. So if you put it on, if I put it on my head or if I put it on a hat that's not black, it stains it.
Yes. Yeah.
So, like, I don't know if anybody can, like, see from there.
Yeah, mine are like that. You need to get the earbud ones. Have you seen that? Do you know what Malcolm in the Middle? Thanks, man. Do you know what Malcolm in the Middle is, right?
Dude, that's like one of my...
Great
show. And my son bonded like that. We watched that because obviously I watched that years and years ago and I used to love it. And then I showed my kid it, and, like, we've watched that entire series 3 times now.
I just started rewatching it because I'm up late with the baby and stuff like that, trying to make sure, like, she feeds so Chelsea can pump and all that stuff. And,
also, you do know that they're making a new show.
No way.
And all the cast are coming back except for Dewey. The guy who plays Dewey turned it down. He was like, I'm done with acting. I'm good.
Now. I'm just kidding.
He was like, yeah, I think he's like a school teacher or something. He was like, yeah, I'm good. I don't need the money. I don't care.
He looks way different.
Everybody else is coming back but him.
That's hilarious. That's awesome. Well, like, it's such a funny... There's the episode where, like, Francis loses his, like, eyebrows and his hair, and then he's supposed to be going on a date, and he's, like, using the permanent marker to, like, put on his head. And I was thinking about you. I was like, you don't have to do that.
Fantastic.
It would be so funny. But
on the topic of that, I was going to say something now when you said that. Did you know that Frankie, what's his name?
Muniz. He does, like, street racing stuff. Like, not street racing, but, like...
He's a fucking NASCAR driver.
Yeah. Isn't that wild? You know what movie I used to love?
Actual NASCAR driver.
Remember Agent Cody Banks? I had a
Yeah.
huge crush. Everyone knows this on Hillary Duff. She was my
I thought you were going to
scrumdiddlyumptious. No. Not Frankie, that weird looking fuck. But it's just funny because we've been like bored watching. Like I watch because we're just taking care of the baby and doing nothing. I've watched like Billy Madison and all these like absurd dumb movies that I like all these Jim Carrey movies. We've been just watching a bunch of different stuff, and it's just because we have nothing really else to do. So I was watching the Bob Dylan movie. That was weird. I can't do a Bob Dylan, but so we're just consuming content because we're stuck in the house with the baby.
Have you seen Shallow Grave?
No, what's that?
Danny Boyle's first movie. I feel like you'd enjoy that. Yeah. Okay. Or Train Spotting.
Yeah, I have to watch Gothica and all the stuff that we need to do for your show. So yeah. Obviously we rant on a little bit, especially because this is the first time of us being back recording. I know the audio fans will not notice. I already said that. But this is something we're going to do a little, like maybe I would like to try to do it maybe every other month. If not, like I think this is something that Billy would really enjoy doing with us. So this will be a lot of fun. Like eventually maybe we'll bring Shane on, but this is going to be Conspira-Tiers. Okay. We're going to be talking about different conspiracies, paranormal events. Like we're going to do tier lists, but they won't always be focused on conspiracies. Like I have some fun ones we're going to get into of like ranking murder weapons. Like me and you have touched upon that in an episode, but this will be fun. We'll be able to rank them. We'll do like the Jew World Order conspiracies. Like, is this Jewish centric or like I have ideas. I have many things that we're going to get into. Tier lists are fun. They can, the audience can participate. Can you do me a favor? I know you have like ChatGPT or Google pulled up. I want you to pull up Google and we talk about these. If you can just quick Google search them if we need it, if maybe we don't know a conspiracy, most of these we will know. But also ask ChatGPT how to do a proper, like, because we have to veto, people can veto stuff, right? So do you know how that works? I can't remember.
So what do you want me to ask?
How to construct a tier list with an audience. You know what I mean? I can do it quick, but I just want to know, like, when they veto something, so does that mean, like, so if they say, like, no, put that down, enough people say it, then they get to veto it and change our opinions. But personally, this is going to be, because we're both conspiracy theorists, this is going to be hard to put stuff in the bottom tier. Because you'll see once we get into everything, just everybody get prepared.
Okay, let's see.
So this will be something fun we'll be doing every so often, and I think it would be kind of fun. I have plenty of ideas. Giving you anything? I was gonna do this before I started, but it's too hot.
Rank items one by one. You could use live chat polls for the audience and just follow that directly. You could use chat voting where you'll ask the audience to vote in chat and then then have the host decide if they need to veto something or change something.
That's fine. So if chat wants to veto stuff, if enough of you are like, okay, no.
Yeah, are we letting the chat decide where the things go and then we're vetoing it if we don't agree?
No, I think it will make more sense for us to put it, and then if someone's like, no, like we need to change that, like we'll let chat participate. So yeah, this is built for you guys to participate. We're gonna make this translate well to audio also is the idea, because we can talk about each of these conspiracy theories. So we have a bunch that we'll get to. So on the tier list, right, for everybody listening, everybody watching, we have practically confirmed true at the top. Then we have I personally believe this, which that might be a lot of mine. And then we have 50-50, like, you know, and then doesn't make much sense. And then our very last one is you're a fucking idiot if you believe this. So this will be fun. So welcome everybody to Conspira-Tiers. This is our first attempt at doing this. I'm excited. It'll be fun. So here we go. The first one is the CIA killed JFK.
I'm going to say practically confirmed true.
I will also say that, but I want to add that, like, should we put it in the, I personally believe this
Maybe
because it's
part of
Mossad.
it's like, yeah,
Because
part of it, I'm
Mossad
like,
helps.
that's what they want me to believe.
The CIA did help, but there's a lot of evidence that he was murdered by Mossad because JFK was outspoken against Israel having nukes. And I even said, in one of my songs, everybody out there, support my music would be much appreciated. I just put out a new album. It's everywhere, The Raptilian. But one of my songs off the Great Resistance album, Do Not Comply, I say like, no nukes for the enemy could put you in jeopardy. Coincidentally, it's traced back to 3-letter agencies. But I said something about the Kennedys, like no nukes for the enemy, getting the CIA killed a Kennedy, and it's because I was like, yeah, because he didn't want to give nukes to Israel. It's like, no, they shouldn't have that. I'm having a drink, everybody. So you guys get to participate. So if you disagree, definitely put it in the chat. This is what we want. We're going to do this every so often. When you see Conspira-Tiers, I want you to come into the chat, enjoy yourself, have a drink. It's a Sunday. Hopefully we'll maybe do this more on like a Friday, Sunday, or Saturday, more on the weekend so people can have a drink and enjoy themselves. Yes, I have Ricky's hard lemonade. So let's get to it. CIA and Kennedy, yeah, guaranteed true. Yeah. Okay, let's put it up there. Practically confirmed true. Let's do it. Okay. This is obviously 9/11. It was definitely not. This is where I guess going to be tough because everything is going to be like practically true. But this is why we can dispute this stuff,
Just
right?
get rid of all the other tiers and just have that one.
Just like have the whole line. What when you first heard about 9/11, do you remember how old you were? Other than, okay, so I remember in grade 4, I was in a portable, and it's not because I was mentally challenged. It was because they couldn't fit all the students in the schools, and so they'd build those stupid portables outside, and then you go in there and it'd be just egregiously hot, if that's the term I want to use. And, I remember, I think I was in grade 4, and the announcement came over the thing of like the Twin Towers got hit, everybody panic, and it was, I remember that, but it's funny because when I really started to look into this stuff and was aware that there could be some foul play, I was like 14 or 15 because of hip hop. And that's why like people can call like, oh, you're a racist or whatever the fuck they want. No, I just believe in looking at things objectively and protecting and preserving my own people and their culture and their heritage and family legacies. But like hip hop and like that quote unquote, it's black culture, Jewish culture to some extent, as we talked about on our hip hop episodes, so go back and check that out. That was always something that like what changed my life was music, whether it be punk music or hip hop, and the people that really were trying to expose this stuff. And I remember when I first heard, we talked about this, like Immoral Technique, and I heard Dance with the Devil. And then once I started listening to his stuff and I listened to Revolutionary Volume 2, where he talks about, that song that's about 9/11. I can't think of the name right now. It will come to my head. But like he broke down how 9/11 was an inside job and who was getting money from it. And like, if you think George Bush did it, you aren't that smart. He's just a crooked, whatever. Like those lines that like really stuck in my head. And without people like Immoral Technique, I probably in Vinny Paz wouldn't be as awake as I am. But they're the ones that really awakened me to this idea that, yeah, the government's involved with some shady play. So do you remember the first time that you heard about 9/11? And do you remember the first time you realized it was shady?
Yeah, I do remember because I would have been like 9, I think, about 9 years of age, and I actually got pulled out of school that day, because my aunt lives in New York.
Oh yeah.
And so she works for a company called the Padded Wagon, which is like a moving company, and their office was like a couple of blocks from the Twin Towers. So I remember it being this whole thing, like where, I've always been quite close with her. She like, helped raise me a lot before she moves away. And like, I remember getting pulled out of school and I kind of understood, but I didn't really understand at the same time. And I can still vividly remember standing in like the sitting room or whatever and just like staring at like nobody sat down for like the entire afternoon. Everyone just stood looking at the TV. And it was just a constant live feed of like the fucking thing. And I remember being there when the second one hit. And it just, I think to me at the time, I was like treating it like I still didn't really understand why I wasn't in school, because I was like, yeah, but she's fine. Like, this is on TV. It's like not really a thing. You know what I mean? It's like, that's American. It's like not real. It's all a big like movie thing. I was kind of treating it, I think, like some sort of like James Bond movie where I'm like, haha, yeah, it's skyscrapers on fire. It's not real. And obviously, obviously we couldn't get in touch with her for such a long time because like all the phones were basically out. They had to take the something tunnel. I can't remember what the tunnel is, to get out of the city, and that was just like fucking wall to wall traffic. Everyone was freaking out.
The Brooklyn Jewish tunnel.
So it's like
stained mattresses and high chairs in there.
Tunnel in New York City, whatever it's called. I don't know. Okay, that hasn't narrowed it down. Lincoln Tunnel,
Sure.
maybe something like one of those anyway. But it was just like, yeah. And then eventually we got in touch with her, and she was like, "It's just fucking crazy here." She was like, "It's literally like the end of the world. It's like insane. It's like absolutely just bizarre, insane to walk out of work and like the entire city be covered in like this weird like fog dust thing." And she was like, "It's genuinely like a horror movie."
Probably would be, man.
But I remember for a long time, like till I like, it's probably similar to you, till I got up in my teens, I always just assumed, I was like, oh well, the TV told me that like the guys that wear the turbans are like the problem
Yeah,
here.
a bunch of sand people.
Yeah, it was that kind of thing, being like, Osama bin Laden had these guys that were wearing like robes and turbans, and they had like box cutters, and they just jumped on the plane and like took it over. I genuinely wholeheartedly believed every bit of that. I was like, that's definitely what happened.
Yeah, and like every brown person is a terrorist with a fucking bomb under their like whatever little dress thing they wear.
Yeah, and like I don't know if that's like, I don't know, the innocence of being a kid or whatever in like the early 2000s, but like I just believed that, and I kind of tied that in, I suppose, with like I said, the idea of like the James Bond thing. I was like, oh, of course, that's like the villain in, whatever fucking movie, or that's the villain in the thing. I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So those guys actually do that then in real life.
Yeah, and it's funny because once you start to shift, like, I always thought like the American government did it, right? But it isn't until you notice that the American government is controlled by Israel that you start to like, oh, that makes so much sense. Like, there's so many people. There's someone. There's that like viral kid. He's kind of like a nerdy dude, but he has like a kind of. He has like some controversial episodes where he talks to people, and you always see these parrots of Israel being like, oh, she said something about like Candace Owens just saying that Israel did 9/11, these blanket statements. I'm like, there's a lot of proof to that. Larry Silverstein, Jewish guy, took out an insurance policy claim over the towers being destroyed like a week beforehand. There was a chat messaging, not app, but through the internet, like AOL, and it was a Jewish controlled, you wouldn't call it an app back then, but a messaging board that told all of the Jewish people not to go into the Twin Towers. Conveniently, Larry Silverstein would always have breakfast every day at a certain restaurant in the Twin Towers. That day, wasn't there. Oh, I got to go to a dentist appointment or whatever, something like that. And then you have the art students that were going around, and then they're caught with like propelling, like harnesses to propel from like elevator shafts. And then you have urban moving systems where it was connected. And then you have the dancing Israelis where a woman caught them, dancing and high-fiving, not literally, but they were like, wow, look at that, sweet. And I think they were actually high-fiving. They weren't necessarily dancing, but they were celebrating the towers falling. And then they were arrested, caught with bomb residue on their fingers and bomb paraphernalia, if you want to call it that. And then, 2 of them out of the 4 were Mossad agents, and they were sent back to Israel, right? And then they were, like on television, on the whatever, I can't remember what what television show it was, but they said, why were they there? Why were these people there? Oh, they were there to document the event, is how they said it. Yeah,
it's a weird one, man. It's a pretty wild story. Yeah, like the whole insurance thing. There's
Yeah,
just
there's
a lot
nothing
of stuff. Like,
suspicious about buying insurance a
you
week
know,
before
it's
you
some of
leave.
the other buildings collapsing and stuff. And they look like controlled demolitions, and there's just lots of stuff that we can.
Dude, demolition experts, like, there is like, I think over Jake Shields had that one. I would love to bring him on the show. I can't remember his name, but I'll maybe reach out to the guy. But he was like, he's an expert in all this stuff, and he is an engineer, I think. And there's like over like, I think 1,500, it's like 1,000 something engineers and demolition experts that all claim that, yeah, something shady is going on with that. So we'll get to that. Like, I'd really like to break down the Israeli involvement in 9/11 at some point, because it's clear cut that, and then they're obviously, think about this, right? Like Wesley Clark said, oh, we have, he gets a paper, you know, he's a general or whatever, the defense general or whatever, and he's like, oh, we have to attack Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, and he goes to, we need to attack 7 countries. Conveniently, they're all Israel's regional enemies, all Israel's regional enemies. And he was like, why are we going to do this? And then last but not least was Iran. And what is happening right now as we speak, there's bombs being let off, and we're heading towards that direction. And they said this after 9/11. They got this briefing that said they need to attack all of Israel's regional enemies. Pretty convenient, if you ask me.
Yeah, the whole thing is mad. I have the David Icke book about
I
it.
wonder,
But
does he point to that stuff? I bet.
to be honest with you, right, David Icke, I love some of his conspiracy stuff, but it's such a commitment. It's like a 1,200 page book. Like, it's literally like, the book is like, I can't even hold it in one hand. I'm like, holy fuck, David. Like,
his reptilian book is like, I've gotten halfway through it, and it's taken me a while.
And like, I think my biggest issue with it is, like, I would love if we were doing an episode about that. Obviously, that book is probably going to be something I would cite quite a bit. But and look, I'm not saying he's the be all end all, or everything he says in the book or everything that comes out of his mouth is truth, because I think he talks a lot of shit as well, I'll be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But like, it's so hard to read a over 1,000-page book, and by the time I get like halfway through, and if you ask me what was in the first like 5 chapters, I'm like, shit, I can't remember, because he's telling me that information. I'm like, whoa,
dude. The first quarter, like hundreds of pages, it seems like, in the reptilian book, he's just explaining how the ancient connections to the reptilians, and there's so many where I'm like, yeah, I get it. And I like, not everybody likes him. Adam Green wanted to debate him, but Henry Macaro, I have his book about Illuminati, and he dives a lot into like the connections to the Jewish mafia, so to speak. I'm really enjoying it, and it's easier to get through, and it's not as big, but David Icke has this, like, the way he writes, it's kind of confusing, and I still enjoy his books, and will read. I have 3 of his books. They're all, I think 3 or 4 of them. They're all massive, but I find this one, this Henry Macaro, I miss, like, kind of like, I'm highlighting all this stuff that I can use. We use some of it for the Protocols Part 2 and stuff, and Ike's long-winded in his lectures. Still great, though. Yeah, I watched a lot of his lectures. Everybody agrees. We're saying practically true, right?
There's another book I have of David Icke, The Biggest Secret, the book that would change the world. Again, like, another massive fucking book, and I'm like, Christ almighty, like, it's just so hard to, like,
it's enjoy good, it, though.
I like it. Yeah, I do enjoy it, but like, sometimes it's very hard to sit down with a 1,200-page book and be like,
dude, I'm trying to read this book about like the defeat of Canadian nationalism that was wrote in the 60s, and then the foreword is just like half the book is this guy explaining what's going on in Canada at the time. And how we were trying to find our identity, because some of it was Americanized, and then the British Empire. And I actually I think that our roots connected to the British Empire is not necessarily a bad thing. Everyone can complain and whatever. Like, the people that built Canada and put their blood, sweat, and tears have nothing to do with the atrocities that took place. But like, I'm that person. I'm like, I'll read a little bit of this and I'll read a little bit of that. And like, I enjoy reading, but I almost have to read like fucking 3 books at once to really enjoy myself. And I'm like highlighting stuff that I like, because I'm like, that's why I'm reading this, because I want it for information for the show and stuff like that. So let's get into this.
I always try to use these little things for like books like that, those little posted things, and I'm like, right, if I put it on the page, I'll like remember the page, I can go back.
Well, that's what the highlighting thing is a good idea, man. I actually enjoy doing, and then my kids can go back to my books. I'm like, Dad was
That was a
anti-Semitic.
raging lunatic.
He was anti-Semitic. Every anti-Semitic, they're like, oh, that's weird. I'm gonna highlight that because that's just too obvious. There's some stuff from this Henry Macrose book that I will use for the show. It's really interesting, especially there's this letter that was like written by one of the elites, and it breaks down like how they control us, and it's like to a T. So reptilians control the world. So we got we got practically confirmed true everything right now. CIA killed JFK. 9/11 was an inside job. The reptilian aspect, you can listen to episodes that we've done to dive into that. I'll say I personally believe this. I'm not gonna say it's confirmed true, even though Billy would be like, "Come on, just put it in there because you." But I'm like, this is what I personally believe, that they're maybe not just all reptilians. I joked with Juan on the one episode that I knew there's a psychic that we went to an alien conference, and he's like, I was honing in something a little darker, something a little more nefarious than the reptilians, another different kind of energy. And I was like, all right. And he's like, I don't know what it is yet, but I'm honing in. I was like, okay.
If you were to ask me specifically, I would say I would go 50-50 on this.
Okay. What's chat think?
Yeah, no, that doesn't mean that that's where it should go. I just mean that I feel like I've definitely flip-flopped on this more. Sometimes I feel like I'm convinced, and then I'm like,
yeah,
well, actually, wait, though, maybe I've just turned myself into a psycho.
Did David Icke really mean the Jews? Like, it's so funny. We're like, if you listen back to the show, me and Bill used to make fun of this stuff, and like, never wanted to disparage anybody, never wanted to like, I was all about bringing everybody together, no matter what ethnicity or like race or culture you were, about bringing us together. And then I started noticing certain things, and then I kind of pushed back against, I believe, my own people's destruction that I can see with my eyes, right? But this idea of the reptilian, it's explained so much, especially when I was a kid. I was like, it's all aliens, man. It's like, it's all this, and it explains everything away that like, imagine if it is just these like secret cabal of people that really just want to seek control, but then you have to look further of why they're doing this, why there's this like child sacrifice stuff, why do they worship like Moloch or like these demigods and creatures and demons, that even William Cooper would bring up. Why is that? And are they necessarily reptilian? Maybe not, right? So we'll throw that in the 50-50, even though I personally believe it.
Chat didn't really come back with anything there, did it?
I know. Boo, man. There's a bunch of you guys coming in the chat, and they're like, now that we're actually playing the games, we don't involve ourselves. Yeah, I've got books decades old. Look through. Yeah, I like getting the sticky notes now. I like getting some of the older books. I actually search for like older books in like the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, because it's different than what they're like. They've even changed. 1984 has been revised and changed, and they used to read it in schools, and now they're trying to like change it and take out things because it's whatever, anti-Semitic or some shit. It's like they said something about it's like white supremacy or like it's just crazy. Like our world's gone insane. We live in a clown world, that's for sure. So I guess we're going 50-50. Yeah, I know. It's what's up, man? I don't think I've seen you in the chat. Open door policy. What's going on? Yeah, you need to read books from the 1800s. That's what I was like. I'm going to go back and start finding some stuff because I have like a medicine book from like the 40s or something. I'll try to look for the stuff like that. That'll be interesting. Okay. Beyonce and Jay-Z are Illuminati. What do you think? I personally think that that's true because they constantly... But is it a 50-50 thing? Because are they just doing it to be like controversial? Jay-Z is involved with some shady stuff. It started to come out. Everyone knows this. So if we think P. Diddy was bad, what is Jay-Z doing? We see all of this stuff like this, and he's openly stating that, I'm part of it,
I would go with, I personally believe this because obviously, like, I don't know if there's any definitive way of saying like, oh, it's confirmed true, but I would say I personally believe that. I think it's all too coincidental, to be honest.
Yeah, and his love for like Aleister Crowley and stuff, which we'll get to it. So we'll harken back to like the music industry stuff because I'm looking into more of that stuff, and I feel like we always shine on some of these like episodes. There's too coincidental. Even like you have like the conspiracy based on like Beyonce in the Crazy in Love video, how she turns from like Beyonce to Sasha Fierce, and like these split personalities that celebrities always seem to have. You know what I mean?
And I just personally don't like either of them either. I'll be honest.
When we talked about this in the hip hop episode, I was like, I've never really liked Jay-Z.
I don't know what it isn't like. Some people would be like, "Oh my god, I don't believe that," but I'm like, I despise him. Like, I think his music is garbage.
So do I, and I never liked it. You ever listen to Blueprint? It's awesome. And I'm like, yeah, I listened to a couple songs, but I didn't like it that much. Crazy. Peepin' Man had a lot of people fall off the map. The Deep I Go just lost my coast to his mind being broken. He needs to start digging on his own. Sucks. Well, man, you know, I see you also do a podcast. Maybe we can work together. I'm all about spreading the love and trying to bring people together, because in the podcast community, we need to start doing this. I was listening to Bad Friends. Like, I love Bobby Lee and Andrew Santino. Like, I was listening to their Shia LaBeouf episode that they're getting, like, people were mad about it. And I was like, I love Shia LaBeouf. I don't give a shit. Some people do bad things.
Do you watch Legion of Skanks at all?
No, I've heard about it though. I've heard it through like Sam Tripoli's.
Yeah, I feel like you might like that show, to be honest. And the one thing I will say I like about it, while I don't agree with a lot of the stuff that they say or maybe the opinions they have, I'll be honest, like, I get really burnt out with the political stuff because it makes me just want to YouTube algorithm myself sometimes.
Yeah. Start saying that.
I do like the way that on Legion of Skanks they just kind of do whatever show they want and don't really. I don't think they've put too much thought into like how clickbaity can we be? What's the like SEO return on like having this guest or that guest?
Yeah.
They just have people on. They have genuine conversations, just tell jokes, dark humor and stuff. And I kind of like it because you can have an episode where they could be talking about conspiracies, and then the next episode they have Sandman from ECW, like hitting people over the head with canes. And I'm like, I kind of like that.
I know. Well, like I've heard about it, and like shout out Grey Pill podcast and Jules. He's trying to get me on Tinfoil Hat because he knows people with it. It's being in America, right? Like they're all connected through like, you know, Florida and the inner circles, where I'm the outside Canadian that gets invited on shows like Reality Czars and these different shows on that aspect of things like Grey Pill podcast. And Jules just started, and one of the inspirations he had for starting the podcast was our show. Like, that's why he started, because of people like us that have been doing it for so long. Like, I've been doing it, and it's interesting. That's why I feel like we're getting shadow banned and pushed to the side in some regard. But we've been doing this longer than anybody that I personally know that does podcasting and stuff like that. And obviously, like, even Sam Tripoli, I enjoy his stuff, and he's been doing it for 6 years-ish. We've been doing it for about 7, right? So, but I never had that avenue, and I feel like America does get pushed out there more, and maybe because I live in Canada and you in Ireland, and the algorithms, God knows what. But I'm hoping at some point to branch out and do some more stuff like that. And you know, you gotta go on some bigger shows at some point to really get out there, right? So
yeah, and I'll be honest. I'll be totally honest. That's what a lot of it is about. You know, as much as it would be great to have one of those stories of being like, oh, I just broke through without like needing any sort of like commercial help or like, you know, starring on somebody else's show or blah blah blah. I'm starting to realize more and more, and especially like maybe like you said, when everything is stacked against you, that maybe like that's kind of the way to break through.
Yeah, it's true. And like Sam Tripoli does think a lot like I do, where he's like, yeah, I don't know, right? You're just like, he's kind of throwing shit at the wall and be like, hey, what is true really? Right, but I'm a huge fan of Jake Shields. That will be a big thing for me. I've shouted him out once or twice before, but if I could ever get him on the show and David Icke, people like that, yeah, power in numbers,
Jake
man.
Shields would be quite accessible, no?
I'm gonna try. I haven't really. I've just kind of like, hey, you should like on Instagram or whatever. But
remind me about that, right? Because so he's quite close with a guy called Tom DeBlas, who was a jiu-jitsu black belt that lives in just outside of New York in Tom's River, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
And me and a friend who now works for a big jiu-jitsu company who were signed with the UFC met Tom and got friendly with him. And my friend got like really close with him once he got into the jiu-jitsu community. He bought like a Brazilian jiu-jitsu like website that like reports all news and like covers events and whatever. Mm-hmm. And they're quite close. and Tom DeBlas and Jake Shields are like that.
Yeah,
Remind me afterwards, and I'll send him an Instagram message. Be like, look, what are the chances of
I would love to
getting
talk with
Tom
Jake.
to get in touch with Jake to see could he come on the show?
That would be sweet. I love Jake. He's a dude that pushes boundaries, and I've been trying to train in my own backyard. Right? I
He doesn't give a fuck
bag
though, which is kind
No,
of
he
hilarious.
doesn't, and he's like pushing back about like that's why I liked his stuff. I can't remember who I heard about it. Like I've been listening to stuff for a while, but I'm like, good for you, man. Like not really caring, like fuck you. He doesn't have like, and he said he just woke up like recently, like over COVID. He's like, what the fuck? Why am I can't go walk on a trail, but you can like go drink alcohol and smoke weed in a bar or whatever. You know what I mean? Whatever it might be. But okay, so flat Earth. Okay, so far we have practically confirmed true, which is CIA killed JFK. So like say let's go even for the audio listeners, like the top tier, we have 9/11 JFK. Then underneath it, we got like 2, I personally believe this, Beyonce and Jay-Z, Illuminati, 50-50 reptilians control the world. Flat Earth. I know people really like this shit. I know people really are convinced about it, but I'm not. I think I've looked at both sides so often. Me and Billy made fun of it a long time ago. And we did kind of sound stupid on it. Like we were just joking about things. And yeah, I think it's now on Patreon. We'll eventually do a big flat earth episode where I almost want Billy to fight for flat earth, even though he doesn't believe it, and have me fight for the other side just so it would be comical. But I would say doesn't make much sense to me. Like we'll go like the third down.
Yeah, so
Almost at the bottom.
I would say my inclination is to say I don't believe it, but
You're
I
an
also
idiot if you believe it.
but I will also say that I don't know enough about it. I've never really gotten into the whole thing. I do know some people that are close to me in my personal life that would probably punch my head in for saying that flat earth is not real. But I don't know enough about it, and my inclination is to say that it doesn't really make sense to me.
Yeah, I agree. We'll fly through some of these. I agree. We'll do a whole breakdown of it at some point, a big live stream. Like I've had David Weiss shout me out when we first started the show, and part of me thinks I should have had him on because he had an audience at the time, and this is when we were kind of first starting, like maybe 6 years ago, and I chose not to do it. And I kind of should have, but and then me and Billy it's so funny because the show started off as just me and Billy, really, right? Me and my friends talking about conspiracies and weird and strange things. And then later on, I'm like, hey, like I'll have people on the show that I genuinely like or am interested in talking to. Moon landing was fake. Yeah, that's just it's man. The amount of evidence me and Billy even did. This will be strictly for Patreon. So there is a lot of stuff on there that you can't get anywhere else. So make sure to support. It's very cheap. We only do 1 tier so far, and we did an episode about the dark side of the moon. And then I made Billy. I made Billy his first reaction to the Kanye song. It was very funny, and I was like, "This is a Patreon thing." He's like, I haven't heard it yet. And I was like, oh, we're going to watch it.
Yeah, the moon landing. No, I don't.
Yeah.
What is it?
Where's Project Bluebeam? Oh, that's going to come on its own episode. We're going to have a bigger conspiracy episode. Like I have a bunch of different, we'll touch upon more tier lists of conspiracies, and there might be some similar, content or similar topics that we'll be ranking, but this is just to start it off soft, because I have one that's massive that we could do a 3-hour thing on. The no nukes will fly. Yeah, it's interesting. It's either fake or second coming. I actually was just writing out the Project Bluebeam episode, so we'll start to get into that stuff very soon. So everyone agrees on the chat, right? Practically confirmed. You're an idiot if you believe this. So main landing was fake. Practically confirmed true for sure.
Yeah. From a spectator's perspective, I'd love to see childhood end revelation of aliens or shadow government.
Mm-hmm. We'll start doing. There's a bunch of ideas for the even tier list. Okay, Princess Diana was killed. I'm gonna say I personally believe this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
Okay. Because like, there's so much evidence of like, she even called we're going to cover this at some point too, but she even talked about like the royal families not being human She said something about like they're snake-like. Like she said some weird stuff. And then I personally think there's different theories that I actually have an episode written out for that we will cover. But like, I personally think that she knew some stuff about because what I have written out for the episode that we can touch upon, I don't think it necessarily points. It points kind of towards the stuff, but only a little bit. Is the idea that I think she noticed the creepy pedo stuff that was going on with like Jimmy Savile and stuff as we talked about him.
Yeah, I was just looking up there. I can't find the name of it. I because I've read 2 books about the whole Princess Diana thing. Yeah, I would say that that I believe that she was killed personally.
Yeah, so do I.
I'll be honest.
Chemtrails are poisoning you. I like it's so fine. That thing's there's gonna be rare ones where it's like you're an idiot if you believe this. Like the last bottom, like throw it to the wind. It's not real. Chemtrails are real. I see them all the time. You can't tell me that sky that I see that looks like chemical haze is not chemical haze. Yesterday I'm like, look, that's nice. And it's weird because people think there's like they're using like a harp or whatever, like these frequencies to push the clouds, to push these chemtrails, and using like electromagnetic frequencies plus the chemicals to create this toxic environment that we live in. But it's weird, even when it's like not that windy. Sometimes you'll see those like where it looks like a wave of like clouds, like you know what I mean? It's very weird looking. I just saw it yesterday. I was like, wow, like we can't have just a healthy day. It looks like chemical haze over the in the sky. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, I don't know, again, like I haven't looked into that stuff enough, but like there's I guess just from like the common stuff you would know, it seems to be the case. Again, it's another one of them things, and some people probably give me shit for this. I try and put it out of my head because I'm like, if I think about all this stuff enough, I'll like want to stop reading and like I just won't do anything. I'm like, because people tell you all sorts of stuff like, don't use deodorant, don't wash yourself with soap, don't breathe, don't eat, don't drink water, don't do anything. And like, I have that personality sometimes where it just drives me insane.
They're killing us, though. They're killing us.
On this, I will stand, I will win, or I will die.
They're literally killing us. Like, I believe at every angle. I'm like, can we not have all this? They're poisoning our food, our water. I was just thinking about this. It's just like, you know me, I'm kind of crazy to begin with to some extent. And it's probably detrimental to my health to some extent. But I think about this stuff all the time. I look up, I notice it. I see it in the foods. Like, we got formula for the baby, and I'm reading it, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? And we haven't used it. We're trying to just use breast milk. But I'm like, why is there soybean oil in this shit? Like, what? Why is there oils in like...
Turn into a soy boy.
Well, we'll get to that down the list, actually. So I think, I personally believe this. Since you're on the fence, we'll both go with that. Because I would say confirmed true. Because if you guys go back and listen to, we could ever do more of an extensive one at some point too. But me and Billy did a pretty good job at covering chemtrails. It was actually a little more serious. We were showing clips. And the military... has admitted this. There is 100% proof that they were geoengineering. There's literally footage of them during just after World War II. I think even earlier before that, there's that footage, and they're spraying these like chemicals over the ocean, and it sprays down a cloud. Like, if you look up geoengineering patents, they have them. They've been doing this. They admit it. Dubai did it, right? And it caused that massive like rainfall. And then like they admitted that they did it. America doesn't do that. Canada doesn't do that. But they've admitted, just like Bill Gates admitted to blocking out the sky.
Yeah, that was pretty scary. I'll be honest.
He literally admitted we need to block out the sky. Why is some nerd, that owns Microsoft? So we'll do, I personally believe this. So I'm just like, we're conspiracy heads. It's going to be hard to. Population control. It's quite clear. Oh, yeah, we were just talking about you, Caleb. So that's funny. Welcome. You guys can all rank. If you guys disagree, if you see this later on too, and you're just tuning in, if you disagree with any of these, even if we get, there's a bunch of people in the chat, but even if we get one of you guys to veto something, we might veto it. Just for you guys' sakes, for the people that are tuning in, because it's the whole purpose of this is kind of be interactive. I believe they're definitely trying to keep the population down. Like, that's no doubt in my mind. I think it's actually kind of confirmed to be true. We just showed you out, man, and that you were a good fan, and Aaron appreciated the message. That we're just talking about the fans and the people that support the show and stuff. What do you think? Population control?
Oh yeah, I
That's
would
who's
say
here.
so. Yeah. But again, I'm like, I don't know what, like, how do we define practically confirmed true? Like, I don't know, because you could turn around and say that about everything and go, well, where's the actual proof?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's true.
I think if I look at it, it's there, but like, I'm sure that there's people that would say, well, no, technically,
Mhm.
there's no actual proof. So
Well,
I don't
it's
know.
yeah. It's
I'm
like,
happy for that to go wherever.
Uh, I was saying this. It's crazy to me. Okay, so we'll spend all of this money, right, on catering to the immigrants and the foreign invasion, right? People are like, well, they have a piece of paper. They're just as Canadian as you are. I'm like, that's not what makes you Canadian or whatever. It's like the whole thing about like, well, people say, well, it's legal, so it's fine. And it's like you saying something is illegal. If they just pass a law where they're like, oh, it's legal to throw children into bonfires, does that make it right or justified? No, it's just a piece of paper, a legality that they wanted to enforce. It's not justice. It's lawfare, as they call it, like warfare. It's lawfare. They're using laws against you and passing laws and legislation that will end up harming most people, but they pass it in this way where it's like, this is for the greater good. It's for the communist order, right? It's to control everything. So we'll put in, I personally believe this to be true. This will be an interesting one because like we could rank this lower, just considering we don't know how much proof there is, but personally, I'm not a fan of feminist and the feminist movement. I think it was controlled and owned by the Rothschilds and pushing that. I do think that I think this idea of like, if women want to work, they should be able to. But I think that you should be able to live off of one income. But making men feminine with soy in food. 50-50 doesn't make too much sense, but 50-50.
Yeah, well, I don't know the specifics of just soy, but I definitely will say that I do wholeheartedly believe that a lot of the stuff we consume now is like and I don't even know if it's specifically just for men, but like obviously speaking as a man, I can only come from my point of view. There's definitely, I feel, a lot of stuff out there that I used to think was like quote unquote healthy, that I think is full of like that is quote unquote full of moobs and stuff.
Yes.
And that's definitely some sort of a thing. Again, I don't know the specifics of
even alcohol.
what, but like the amount of stuff that I'm sure we consume that we think, oh, I'll go for the healthier option, and it's probably just as much full of
just
like
as bad. Oh yeah, like the like veggie burgers and stuff like that, or like the
and stuff like fucking they have like those things now. I don't know if I'm assuming you guys have had them over there for a long time, but they've kind of made a bit of a resurgence here in the last like year or so. Like those like fit meals, like you can go into the grocery store and you buy like a pre-made meal, but it's like super protein fit meal and like all this shit. And I'm like, that's literally just garbage. Just garbage in a package.
It's so true. Like, and it's fine. Like, yeah, soy and beer, man boobs, 9 months, prego belly. And the thing is, I enjoy drinking. Like, I always have because it's fun. You just like you hang it. But the thing is, I'll admit I do have some man boobs. I'm trying to get rid of them. I'm working out. I'm doing the heavy bag. I'm doing the bench press, and it's tough to get rid of this stuff that's been like. If I can show the audience, and we will on our Patreon at some point, younger pictures of me. And there's pictures of me when I'm like 18, 19, especially 19 when I went to Cuba, that whole story. I was thin. I was a thin guy. I had literally like no fat on my body. Maybe could be some drugs, sure, but I wasn't like a drug addict. I just did ecstasy once in a while, and that's about it. And smoke some weed, but I was pretty thin. I think I didn't even, my wife, I'm thinking, she probably like, you didn't really eat though. You probably were just like, just living life, not really caring. And, it was when I started working at a restaurant and working at a bar and then like being able to just drink after work and stuff and constantly, especially beer specifically, it does add, I blame the reason I am even kind of overweight is because of alcohol. Cause I enjoy drinking. I enjoy being a little loose and hanging out, especially doing the show. Me and Billy were drinking every Friday pretty heavily. And I do think that the alcohol probably back in the day is not even close to what they have now,
Yeah. And I mean, look, the problem with it then is it's super addictive. So like the alcohol is super addictive, for multiple reasons. Some people use it as a crutch to do other stuff. Some people just find it fun. Some people just like the taste of alcohol, or a combination of those things. And then it ties into other bad foods where if you eat bad foods, they're addictive. But then on the flip side of that is, if you eat quote unquote healthy foods, they can also be very addictive as well. So it's like I had a friend who went vegetarian or vegan or some shit, and like he looked worse than he did when he just ate his regular garbage diet, because he done not only eat tofu and blocks of cheese. And I'm like, dude, you look like you have like your body.
Dying,
it's like, what is it, like you have a body like a bag of milk. Like he just had, like, he just looked awful. I was like, dude, you might as well just go back to like whatever other garbage diet you're on, because you looked better.
I know there's that Moral Technique song. It's him talking. It's called Beef and Broccoli, and he's like, some of you guys look like the skinniest motherfuckers on Schindler's List. Like, he's like, well, you don't look healthy, man. All right, so we have actually someone finally vetoed the flat Earth thing. Okay, so veto. Since you vetoed it, the flat Earth, because it's something you can prove, I don't necessarily think that's necessarily true. I think I'm up in the air with it. But for you, we'll throw it up in the 50-50. Just to say, okay, like, it's, we don't, there is weird things about it, okay? Because I see things all the time where I'm like, it is weird, man. The planes, like, there's a guy talking about how he's talked to a bunch of pilots, and you would have to constantly curve the nose of the plane down, and no pilot does that. They fly consistently straight. So there is a lot of stuff. I'd actually like to do a whole episode about this at some point. The soybean thing, we'll do. I personally believe this just because it's so funny. We're gonna have like nothing on the I don't believe this. Government killed Martin Luther King Jr. Personally, let's I'm going to say that's probably true, but Martin Luther King was a Marxist. He was a communist. He admits it. He was a full-blown cultural Marxist, probably agenda. Malcolm X actually didn't like him because of this stuff. If you actually look and start researching into it, Martin Luther King was he was under the hypnosis of the I need like a little, I don't know, my Jewish buttons, I have to re-add those, but there's something I don't believe. I think he wasn't a good guy. I think they murdered him for sure, but
I don't know enough about it. So again, that's another one that I'm going to leave up to you and the audience, because I genuinely, I couldn't say it one way or the other.
That's a good point, dude. They could be a staged event. JFK, I tend to believe. Yeah, the fake staged Trump thing. That is weird. His ear just grows back perfectly. There's that meme where it's like what's that boxer? I'm gonna tear his heart out. I'm gonna Mike Tyson, where he bites off the guy's ear and there's like this massive scar. Yeah. And then it's just like, but Trump doesn't have that. Yeah, MLK was a commie race hustler. Yeah, 100%. I actually, once I started looking into that stuff, I was like, ooh, you're not really a good guy, are you? Malcolm X is actually a little more based in some of the stuff that he talked about and the racial realism stuff. We'll keep it JFK there. Let's do, I don't know, since we have a couple people in the chat saying that, let's go, say doesn't make much sense. Maybe it was fake. Maybe it was just a ruse, right? To promote this, the race war, you even have people like Jesse Lee talk about this, right? That black guy, like him. What do I want to say? The civil rights movement, right? Pushing this thing of like civil rights. But then if you look at it, before the civil rights movement, especially in black neighborhoods, the father and mother were pretty much a cohesive family. And then after that, it became this thing where, like, I think it was through the music industry and many other factors, but you saw this split between, especially in white families too, you see this split between divorce and how it was like programmed in the population to split up the quote-unquote nuclear family. Yeah, that's my point too. I've always said if the Earth was flat, maybe it's just because it's a simulation, right?
See, this is why I can't talk about half this shit, because I end up going psychotic.
I know. Michael Jackson faked his death. Okay, so I'm going to say that I think you're an idiot if you believe this, because I think that he openly stated that they were trying to kill him.
Yeah,
I think he did
I don't
die.
believe that he. Yeah, I don't believe that he faked his own death.
No,
I believe that there was. It
foul
may have
play.
been. Yeah, it may have been faked in the way that they say everything happened, but I don't think that he went like, "Oh, I'm going to fake my own death and like disappear."
Yeah, and there was one he was on stage and he's like, "They're trying to kill me. They're coming after it." He like literally said this on stage.
Literally like that. Was it?
They're coming after me. Gotta leave me. Stop pushing me into the fireplace, Daddy. I don't like it. Don't make me sleep there again.
Oh my God Almighty!
And his dad like forced him into the fireplace and was like, "You need to sleep there, Mike." He's like, "Please, Daddy, no." I think his dad probably touched him. I know it's a crazy here. We're talking about conspiracy theories. MJ called out the music industry, and yeah, so true, man. He called it out being Jewish owned. Me and Billy talked about this during the Weimar Republic episode. How it was like he was like, and it's so funny, that clip that I have that I think is hilarious. It's on Instagram. Definitely support the show on Instagram. That's where we're most active. I'm starting to be a little more active on X, which is kind of controversial because I'll just call out people for their absurdity and their bullshit. But Strange Brew Cast, support us on all social media platforms. It would be much appreciated. But where I'm like, I told Billy, I was like, he had a bunch of Nazi memorabilia, and Billy's like, "No way, you just made that up." And I was like, okay. Did Michael, you know what I mean? Like, did Michael Jackson have a bunch of Nazi memorabilia? And he did. And he has that song where it's like, they don't care about us. And he said, "Kick me, kike me, Jew me, sue me." And the Jews are like, "You can't do that, you know." Okay, I gotta get my accent on, right?
Yeah, I don't know what happened to that one. It was very like, oh.
Yeah. I need to be like whiny, like, "You can't." I gotta figure it out. I gotta get it though. You and your fucking little fan. So
My number one fan.
Yeah, yes. Aaron has a hand fan, just so you know, his hand fan.
Yeah, if everyone is wondering in the video why I keep looking down, because I'm conscious of, I know you guys can hear it when I talk, so I'm like turning the button on and off every time I try and mute the microphone.
Oh yeah, and then the interview of Michael Jackson talking about his dad putting on hormone blockers to keep his. "Hi, Daddy, I don't want to sound like this my whole life." "Well, you gotta sing. You're a lead boy. You gotta sing. You know, all these other people. Fuck Latoya, she sucks. You know, you gotta be a voice, man. You can't. You're making me too much money, Michael." And then he's like, "No, Daddy, no." And it's just like crazy. And then like there's this conspiracy I was gonna mention. I mentioned way back in the day to Billy, is like they made him white because the record executives didn't like a black guy at the top of the top of the pop charts. It's like, "We're gonna make him white. We're gonna convince him he has a man," whatever that disease is that makes everyone. What's that called? Blemiglo or something like that.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I can't think of it.
Bling de Blyglow? Someone in the chat will probably know. But we're like, we're gonna make him white because we don't want this N-word on the top of our chart list. They're just so crazy. Back to the music. Yeah, well, I didn't say the word, Aaron, but that's what I'm in the character of the record executives. We all know how the J's think about the B's, okay? It's right there in their writings. They tell you. Avril Lavigne was replaced by a clone.
I'm going to go ahead and say you're an idiot if you believe this, only because why the fuck would anybody want to... Why would she need to be replaced by a clone? Who the fuck is she even? Like garbage. She had that song Skater Boy. Like,
Skater Boy. She said, "See you later, boy."
Yeah, so that's the only reason I wouldn't believe it. Because I'm like, if I was going to have to replace someone with a clone, why would I pick Avril Lavigne?
She was famous, and she did influence a lot of people.
Did she?
I don't know. I probably thought she was hot with her stupid.
Yeah, I started and I used to be like, "Yeah, I'm a skater boy."
I'll make love to you.
So cringy, like fucking sitting there with your greasy hair and your spotty face, and you're like 12, and you're like, "Yeah, baby,
I will be your skater boy." She never said "see you later, boy" to me. So dumb. Let's Go doesn't make much sense because like I think it could be possible. Like there's this theories about like Eminem being a clone. There is weird like so the theory about Avril Lavigne is so fucking hot, man. Avril Lavigne.
That's how I'm feeling. I'm like hallucinating here. And I'm at the top of the house. Like I'm on the top floor in the attic. So like all the heat rises up here. So I'm like, whoa, it's so warm up here.
It's so hot, man. It's the hottest day, and I'm gonna go swimming after this, so that's good.
I am. It's going.
You want to know crunching? I have a tinfoil hat on, and I'm like, this is better than my. Okay. It looks like a do rag now. It looks like a do rag. Yo, gangsta. I want to have fun with this. That's the whole point of why we're doing this. But like, there's that theory that like she died. There's also the same theory with Eminem. I think a lot of people get sacrificed to the Illuminati that are both like kind of pushing towards like, oh, there's like child trafficking and stuff going on or whatever, right? So I do think it is possible. But there's that theory that she got in a car accident and they replaced her with her friend who looks similar to that she does. And there is some convincing evidence, you could say, that could be possible.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Just maybe, you underestimate the power of the Illuminati.
You underestimate my power.
Good old Anakin.
Yes. Everyone is agreeing with him now, man. Maybe he was right. I love that meme where it's just like, do you want to deport all the Indians? And he's like, it's like, yes, the women and children, not just the men, but the women and children too. Yes.
Good old Anakin.
FBI, open up!
So Hitler didn't die and escaped to Argentina. So if you're not aware of the show Strange Brew, and maybe you're not a lifelong fan of the show, the second episode ever that we did was Hitler faked his death. And I was always concerned that, we're getting shadow banned or censored because in our chorus, our intro, it was Hitler faked his death and then escaped. And I was like, it's saying Hitler in the first minute helping our show. So we changed it to they shot JFK. The CIA shot, JFK was shot in the head by the CIA. And it originally was Hitler faked his death and then escaped. And to me, it's quite convincing that he died. Like, there's the theory that we'll get into at some point. We talk about like Agartha in like the Hall of Earth, is that maybe he went down there and he's riding on a dinosaur, like in that movie Iron Sky 2. But the skull that they had supposedly that the Russians found, which were controlled by the Bolshevik Jewish communists. So how can you trust that? They said that it was a female skull once they finally tested it under the age of 50. I do think it's possible that he did fake his death and escape to Argentina and lived out his days. There's even theories that he married a black woman and died.
Can we get my favorite sound? I just thought of it there when you start using the soundboard.
What's your favorite sound?
You should know this. My favorite ever sound. It's only one you got recently enough. It's a very, very short sound. No, it's not like it's not music or anything.
Oh. Or yeah, just yeah. Billy's screaming. That'll be like if someone wants to veto.
Every time I hear that,
It's like so funny because I'll never forget him lying on the couch, and then me and Justin are just trying to finish the episode on New Year's, and we're all wasted, and then having Billy just scream. I'm like, he screamed in the night. Here's the whole clip for everybody.
Sounds like a gay guy.
Sarcastic bitchy wolf. Oh, it does sound like a gay guy. They were camping with friends when a noise from something or someone started screaming to terrify the group. On New Year's, man. You're hearing like a fucked up noise, terrifying the group in the woods.
If you like, that's like literally probably 6 years ago, and you can hear Billy like laying on the couch. And we're like, oh, that sounds gay or whatever. And Billy's like, huh. Like you just hear him laughing as he's laying there because he's out, man. It's so fucking funny.
That's
Have
my
you seen-
favorite noise ever.
I've actually, the fittest flat earther showing Hitler went on to play. Well, that's hilarious. I know of that guy. I've seen that guy. He makes some good points about stuff. So let's go. Hitler fake his death. Let's go 50-50. Whoops. Let's go 50-50. Nazi secret base in Antarctica. Okay. Let's do, I personally believe this maybe if you want to, because like they were using boring machines in Antarctica. They were there. That's provable. That's a fact. Were they building some sort of crazy underground base? I don't know. I think it might be possible. But we can do 50-50.
I'll be honest, I want to believe it just because it's been a conspiracy that I've heard about for so long. And I'm like, I don't know, it kind of feels like I don't know, some sort of a movie or something. I'm like, I kind of want to believe there's some big secret, like, underground base.
Why is there 2 flat earths in this?
I noticed that earlier. I was going to say that to you.
Let's just go back. Let's just throw it up there. Nazi base, secret base. Say we personally believe this because we'll get into that stuff because I kind of want to do before. Yeah, more. I think that whether the Earth be flat or round or made out of cheese or a square or whatever the fuck it is, doesn't really matter because we're all getting towards a place of being enslaved. Not necessarily. It doesn't really matter to that extent, but I do think that there is land that we don't know of. I do think that that's a possibility. That they're hiding land that we don't know of. I think that could be a real thing, you know?
Sorry, I was on my fan duty. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I would think so. Again, I don't know, because some of these I have clouded judgment because it's like stuff I want to believe.
I know. That's why I'm like, all these conspiracy ones are going to be hard. Like, we're going to have to bring Billy on there's going to be a couple ones that we're going to do just based on conspiracy theories, and some of them may share commonalities or similar topics, but I have a couple different ones that we'll end up getting to, but there's one where it's like massive. We could do a 3-hour fun little
Billy is like, no, to everything.
Yeah, I know. Billy's going to be so skeptical. Maybe. I don't know. So New World Order and the Great Reset. I'm going to say that's practically confirmed true. Like the New World, they've said it over and over and over again. Over and over and over again. So many presidents, so many people, whether it be Biden, Reagan, George Bush, like so many of them, we have to head towards a New World Order, you know? And Klaus Schwab literally admits it in his book that they want to reset the whole fucking playing field and enslave everybody.
Yeah, again, like I'm not going to speak out of place here. I don't know enough about it. I feel like you're way more versed in it, so I will leave that decision with you and the audience.
Okay, everyone's saying true, so let's do it. Practically true. This will be an interesting one because there could be arguments about this. Did Epstein kill himself?
Nope.
Epstein did not kill himself, right? Nope. But did he fake his death, or did somebody else kill him?
I'm gonna say somebody else killed him. Just because I feel like it was one of those things where it was like, we don't want
him exposing
whatever blackmail shit he had going on. I don't know. I think they all kind of probably got together and went, ooh, no. This motherfucker's gonna, he's gonna sing now, and we don't want that. So time for him to YouTube algorithm himself.
Yes. And I think it's funny because there could be the argument, right, that like I actually heard Jerry McKenzie talking about this, is the idea that maybe Trump, that he was involved with the blackmail stuff, but he was the guy running it. Not necessarily that he was blackmailed, but he was running some of the operations with the help of Israel. I know some people like Trump, whatever. I think he's bought and paid for, and it's coming quite clear now that he is an asset of Israel. That maybe he was ahead of the curve. He was aware of these blackmail operations and actually were helping facilitate them, maybe. And that's why he was able to get ahead of some of these people. We don't know. Somebody had somebody Epstein killed for.
Mm.
No. Definitely still alive. He was seen on the island after. Is that true? Because that'd be wild, man. It's like we saw him. He was. You know what I picture him on the island, right? Like by his little Ellen DeGenerate background house, but he's sitting there with like the arms behind his back, just staring out into the ocean, being like, "It's tried to get me, but."
I mean, yeah, I don't. For me personally, I never really entertained the idea of him still being alive.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess there's probably a possibility maybe that he's still alive.
Deep state. Let's get into that. Deep state exists. I would say, I personally believe this.
Again, I don't know enough about it, so it's another one of those ones where I feel like I just
People from
bow out and be
behind
like,
the scenes are controlling everything.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
let's just go.
That solves that pretty quick.
5G is dangerous. So this is interesting. This will be a one that could be a 50-50. I think that it's possible. I think they have not done the enough studies to prove that even Wi-Fi and things aren't dangerous. And God knows what this like. There was military officials that warned about this stuff about the 5G. So we don't know. It could possibly be true that it's affecting us beyond our comprehension.
Do you want the AI answer?
Yeah.
Just for the laugh. I know we're spinning through these pretty quick because we're whatever, but so 5th generation wireless is the latest mobile network standard. It uses radio frequency electromagnetic fields similar to 4G, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth, just at higher frequencies for faster data. 5G uses non-ionizing radiation, meaning it does not have enough energy to damage DNA or cells directly, unlike ionizing radiation, for example, UV and X-rays. The International Commission on Non-Ionizing Radiation Protection and the World Health Organization, who state that 5G levels fall well below harmful thresholds. Thousands of studies on mobile networks, including 2 to 4G over the past 20 plus years, have not shown any clear evidence of health risks when exposure remains within regulated limits. What people have concerns about. Some people express concerns including headaches, insomnia, or anxiety, but controlled studies have not confirmed 5G is the cause. Cancer fears. Large studies like the US National Toxicology Program found some links with older 2 and 3G tech in rats at extremely high exposures. These results do not reflect typical human usage, and follow-up reviews question their real-world relevance.
Bullshit. I would never believe like the World Health Organization.
No.
Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Especially like even if you don't know anything about any sort of like conspiracy or anything, I would like to think after
say the internet nukes your testicles. I've used a computer for a while and I was able to have kids, so hopefully that's not true.
Yeah. If anything, it probably done the opposite to me because I was more on all that shit when I was in like my very early 20s and I had a kid when I was like 21. So
let's say 50-50. Smart devices, smartphones. I think there is some truth to that. I think we'll dive in a little deeper. I'll find some stuff on it. The Biru and the Anunnaki exist. This will be interesting. I think that there is...
This is all you. Don't know.
Do you don't know anything about the Planet X? Nothing? Eh? Wow. Hey, bud. What does chat think? What do you guys think about Nibiru and Anunnaki? Do they exist? I think there is quite a big possibility that there is outside forces that have engineered us to some extent. I'll go 50-50. This will be interesting because it's like you can tell, like if you're a skeptical person, this way look so much different.
Yeah, be like the inverse of this.
I've spent fucking 15 years looking into this stuff, and it's quite convincing. And wait till we get into some of other lists, will be even more fun. Especially that's why if you guys see the tier list stuff come up, definitely join in and comment and join the fun because we're gonna get into some fun stuff down the road, especially some of the true crime aspects of this. Aliens are real. The government confirmed this to be true, but is it true because the government said it?
I've always I was going to say I've always wanted to believe. So again,
was Zachary Sitchin a Jew? Of course he was. That's sad.
Um,
Of
so
course.
yeah, I don't know if that's enough to say like that I want it to be true. I've always been fascinated by aliens. I've
Me
always
too.
loved
My favorite
aliens. I'm like,
topic.
it's like, is that a good enough reason for it to be true? Because I just want it to be.
Yeah, I know.
So again, I don't know. Like, does the audience want to kind of chime in on this? Is it okay for us to put that in the?
I'm disappointed that Sitchin probably was Jewish, to be honest. A lot of that stuff is like, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's a big Jewish conspiracy. You know, it's just like crazy. You know, who knows? I'll say I personally believe this to be true. Climate change is fake. Now, this is an interesting one to talk about because the climate does change. That's why I think it's funny when people are like, climate change is so important. It's destroying the planet. We must fucking stop it. We must, you know, and then you have like Canada has like boreal forests and all that. Like we have so many trees that actually neutralize the carbon, but nobody does anything about India or China. You know, China's set to take over the world, man. China's got its fingers in everything, dude. And people don't notice, like people are not concerned. You're concerned about Iran and Israel to some extent, which you should be. Because they do control the Western civilizations and the media and the cultural Marxist agenda and the subversion that's been going on between the media and things like OnlyFans and the apps and all that stuff. But China has its fingers in a lot of stuff, just like at the LA riots and the stuff that's going on over let's kick out the people that are here illegally, that are waving the flags of the country that they say that they love but won't go back to, which is so absurd to me. I've heard theories that China is involved with that and actually funding the riots to take place to disrupt the United States and to cause chaos, because you can create order out of chaos. And if China gets their fingers in and it becomes the superpower, and China's playing this long game where they're waiting until the perfect moment. They're not going to, they have a lot of, they have enough, people in general where they have divisions of their army where I can't remember what they're called, but they essentially can throw people to die. Like we can throw 15,000. It's like prisoners of war. They can give a country like 15,000 people just to be prisoners of war. Then the country doesn't know what to do with those people, and they send even more people. They literally have people at their disposal to just to flood into the country and to be used as weapons. That China could already win. But the thing is, I think they're playing the long game, and they're not necessarily doing it right now because they don't know if they'll necessarily win. They're waiting to a point where they can win.
Yeah, again, like I said, I'm not as well versed on some of that stuff, so it's like I'm not sure.
So climate change I will say climate change is real because climate does change. But is it an agenda? For sure. So let's say I personally believe, let's just say 50-50. I'll say I personally believe this. Can you look at the dead internet theory? Because I'm aware of it.
I was literally going to ask you, what is that?
Because I'm aware of it. It's this idea. I can't remember the whole theory of it. I might need you to bring it up. Thousands of years of chess building. China is China is patient as fuck. It's so true, man. Like they're just kind of sitting there waiting in the background. Like, when do we take our opportunity?
Oh God.
We need to crush the American spirit. I see. I can't. I can do it sometimes.
That was a little bit better, but still not great.
What you're going to do is China. We're going to invade your country without any no bullets. We're no boy. We're people. 2 billion people.
Ooh. Yikes. The dead internet theory is a conspiracy theory that suggests much of the internet today is no longer populated by real people, but instead bots, AI-generated content, and fake accounts, all allegedly controlled by governments or corporations to manipulate public opinion, control narratives, or drown out independent voices. Core claims of the theory: most content is generated by AI or bots. The theory that the large portion of online discussions, social media posts, and even articles are faked or auto-generated. Real user activity is minimal. Supposedly, the internet was livelier pre-2016, and now most genuine users have left or are shadow banned and ignored. Controlled by a few major players. A small number of corporations, often with ties to the government, such as DARPA and the NSA, allegedly run much of the online discourse using AI and automated systems. Purpose, narrative control. Bots are used to flood platforms with certain viewpoints, suppress dissident, or promote consumerism. Why people believe it. Repetitive or low effort content online.
Did they literally say white people believe it?
No, why? Sorry.
Oh, I thought you said white people believe it.
Oh.
It's like, oh, black people are too dumb to think about this. So
repetitive or low effort content online. For example, comment sections full of similar phrases.
100%.
Echo chambers on social media. AI generated articles and art becoming common. Astroturfing campaigns. Fake grassroots movements being exposed. Disillusionment with mainstream internet culture. Is there any truth to this? There is some real elements. Bot activity is real. Twitter, Facebook, and Reddit all deal with large volumes of bot traffic. AI content is certainly growing. Generative AI is being used more and more to create articles, reviews, and even videos. Disinformation campaigns. These have been documented, especially during elections. But the theory goes too far in some ways. There is no credible evidence as of right now that the internet is dead or fully run by AI or bots. Real users are still very active, especially in niche communities, forums, and creative spaces. It is more about platform algorithms and commercialization than total AI takeover. Why it resonates. People feel that the internet has become less human, more corporate, and algorithmically manipulated. Online culture now often feels repetitive, hollow, and inauthentic, especially compared to early 2000s or pre-social media web. The dead internet theory is a conspiracy, suggesting most online activity is full of fake or AI generated. While it taps into real issues like bot activity and algorithm content, there is no evidence of a full-scale replacement of all human users. It is more of a reflection of growing distrust in how the modern internet operates.
We'll get to the big pharma thing. Aaron, let's do that 50-50. I'm literally gonna pee myself. That's what happens when we go past a certain point. I want you to ask ChatGPT. So big pharma, we all think that big pharma is colluding in keeping us unhealthy. Big pharma is 1,000% true. Big tobacco, big alcohol, big tech, big agro, etc. Different industries play a big part to lie to the consumer to make them unhealthy. I'm gonna say that's practically proven to be true. I want you to ask ChatGPT while I go pee quickly. Was Bin Laden a CIA asset? I'm curious to what it thinks.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Bin Laden CIA asset. I can't see anybody's comments right now. I don't think either, which is kind of annoying. Let me see. Can I see comments? Show chat. I chat. Comments. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I can. What's the most recent comment? I'm so over the AI Sasquatch videos already, even when you can see me. You know, clowns can do good smiles. Okay, so let's have a look. Was Bin Laden a CIA asset? Should I wait till Tom gets back before reading this? Or we just go ahead and read it without him? But he's pissing his pants. If anyone's in the chat that wants to answer me, because I feel like I'm talking to myself and on dead air. Again, I don't know if I can see all the comments or not, or it's just YouTube. I'm not entirely sure. Go ahead and ready it. Oh, here we go. He's back already. So now I can start chatting shit about Bin Laden.
Did it say it's fake?
So it says, while there is no solid evidence that Bin Laden was a CIA asset in the sense of being directly recruited, trained, or handled by them, however, the origin of this claim are more complex and tied to the US role in Soviet-Afghan War, 1979 to 1989. Here's a factual breakdown. The origins of the claim. What is true? The US via the CIA funded and armed the Afghan. This was part of Operation Cyclone, one of the longest and most expensive covert CIA operations. The goal was to support Afghan fighters against the Soviet Union. Money and weapons were funneled through Pakistan's ISI, Inter-Services Intelligence. The CIA provided aid indirectly and did not control where it was directed. Bin Laden was in Afghanistan during the war. He used his own money and resources to support Arab fighters, forming the group that would become Al
Blah
Qaeda.
blah blah. Jewish AI. Okay.
Cooperated loosely with blah blah. What is not supported by evidence? He was never a CIA operative or on their payroll. There was no confirmed direct contact between him and the CIA. Al Qaeda was not created by the CIA. It emerged later in the late 80s, early 90s, that as a separate entity with its own agenda.
Dude, his name was Tim Osman. Like that, he was on the CIA payroll. He was friends with the Bush family. The Israeli military trained the Taliban. That's like that. You can look all the. It's facts, man. It's written down. It's documented. This is so true. I'm so over the AI Sasquatch videos already. Even if you can make anything you want, clowns continue to kill somebody else's idea to death. Definitely dead internet, dead culture, and brain dead society. I truly believe that our society's gone so far downhill, man. Yes, you have the Talmudic, Kabbalah, Luciferian connection. It is interesting. Say fuck you. It's your show now. I have a dinner in a half an hour, so let's carry through all of these. Bin Laden was a CIA asset. I truly believe this to be true. I'm gonna say if you actually look at the facts, it's practically confirmed to be true. CERN particle accelerator is a portal to hell. I'm gonna say that I'm 50-50. It's so fun. Look at our tier list.
Yeah,
it's like,
of course.
We are conspiracy theorists for sure. It'll be interesting to do I got some fun episodes for us coming forward about would you fuck this cryptid? Would you make love to this ghost? Stuff like that. So just prepare for all the portal to the DMT realm. It's possible, man. The weird rituals that they done at CERN, me and Jeremy and Kenzie talked about this when I showed the video of them doing that weird shit. So let's say
I don't know.
Not necessarily a portal to hell. Maybe we'll say it shifts dimensions. So we'll say it doesn't make much sense. Because that not necessarily is it a portal to hell. I'm saying that it might be to shift our reality into a different reality. It's interesting, Vatican and the Italian mafia. I would say the Jewish mafia. The main guy, the main head, what is his name, of the Italian mafia was Jewish. It's so funny. They're always it's the Italian mafia or the Irish mafia or whatever, right? And it's they fail to admit that there is a Jewish mafia. I say doesn't make much sense because I think it's related more to everybody knows.
What the fuck?
Yeah, we all know. So we're okay, we'll do this. It's so funny. We're this will be an hour and a half. This is what happens. Especially because me and you talked beforehand and went live a little late. Everybody, we're going to do this every so often. I actually really enjoy with this. Yeah, the Italian mafia is still in cahoots with the Vatican. I think that is to some extent true, but I think the Italian mafia is a little embedded deeper and not necessarily all Italian. But we'll get to that at some point. I really appreciate everybody tuning in. This is hilarious that our tier list looks like this. I have many more ideas. We'll dive more into conspiracy theories. And I hope the people that see this afterwards, if you see this, definitely come join the live chat. You can veto stuff, or we can... there's options. We're going to play around with this. It's the first time I was doing this. The audio listeners too, subscribe on YouTube and Rumble. Even if you mostly just listen on audio, we still want you to be there. It's where most of our listeners are. There's thousands of people on audio. But if you're bored and you want they're doing a Conspira-Tiers episode, make sure to tune in. It means a lot for the people that do join us live. Yeah, it's fun. It's something different, right? Barefoot. Something different, something we haven't really touched upon and done. And we'll do more stuff like this more often. And so appreciate all of you that tuned in and joined. It means a lot. Make sure to like, subscribe, share the show, 5-star rating reviews. If you're watching on YouTube or Rumble, like it, comment on the main page. All of those things do more than you think. Yeah, it's fun. It's different, right? It's a different style. Shout out your stuff, Aaron, and we'll bring this to a close. I did really enjoy this first Welcome to the rabbit hole episode.
Yeah, I would say like, look, you can find my podcast, Class Horrorcast, on all the podcast platforms, so it's not that hard to find. But outside of that, if you guys could go onto my Instagram, Class Horrorcast.
Yeah, support us on social media.
Yeah, just give me a follow on there, or maybe interact with a post or two or something like that. If you see something you like or don't like, leave a comment or even just a like or a share or something like that. And go check out my little Danny Boyle interview on the full thing. Is on, well, the full thing so far is on YouTube right now, Class Horrorcast. And if not, yeah, just Instagram probably for me. I'm on Twitter, I'm on all the social medias, but Instagram I think is the one where both of us are kind of a little bit more active. I wish I was more active on X or Twitter, whatever you call it, but I just can't seem to get into it. I don't know what it is. I'm like into it for a bit and I just like I don't know. I just don't get.
Yeah, we're most active on Instagram and trying to get X. We're now on TikTok. You can look up Strange Brew Podcast. I've been I'm on my 25th account on TikTok, and I can still build up audiences. But I signed into an old account that I haven't signed into for 2 years, and it had like over 3,000 people on it. I mean, I've looked at thousands of people each. Like my biggest account had 60,000 people. Yeah, I've literally been banned 4 times in a month for just talking about like, I'm Canadian because it's in my blood because of the people that built this country. And they're like, no, don't talk about nationalism and racial realism or anything like that, right? But yeah, I signed into it and I was like, you know what? I'm going to make this the new podcast account. We still have thousands of people on here, and it's been doing well. Me and posting clips of like the Human Hunting Club, stuff that me and Billy did, and trying to harken back to some of those more controversial, fun episodes that we've done. So make sure to support the show. It means a lot. I constantly do this where I don't know how to end this. Support both of our shows. Follow us on social media. This was fun. This was different. I really enjoyed it. Make sure to like, subscribe, share it, tell your friends, comment, all that good stuff. And there's like,
please do all that stuff. Definitely do all that stuff. It really does help, even if it's just a like or a share or a follow or whatever. Even if you're not super into, say, my show or horror movies or whatever, or some of the stuff Tom talks about, just even if you interact at all, it really does help.
Please help.
Help me.